February is your money month at BNN Bloomberg, putting a spotlight on how to better manage your finances, from repaying debt to saving up for your first home and inflation-proofing your retirement funds. One tool for retirement planning, of course, is RRSPs. With the contribution deadline set at the end of the month, our first guest joins us to discuss strategies on how to optimize these retirement savings. John Yanchus is Director of Tax and Estate Planning at Canada Life. Thanks so much for joining us, John.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
So I wonder if we could just start by walking through how people typically contribute to their RRSP, in terms of, doing it in a lump sum or perhaps as a regular contribution throughout the year.
Yeah, generally, a lump sum contribution is the normal method where someone has extra money or potentially a year-end bonus, that type of idea, with the idea of looking at reducing their overall tax rate.
And then there's also the option of perhaps taking out a loan to pay into your RRSP and then paying back that loan.
Correct. Yeah, there's a couple of different options there. One being sort of a reinvestment type strategy whereby you would make your RRSP contribution, and then when you get the tax refund, would be recontributing that amount back into the RRSP. You can sort of take that one step even farther as a, sort of like a catch-up type loan, where it's either like a forced savings or perhaps a strategy to take advantage of RRSP room, contribution room that you haven't used in the past, would be to borrow money, make that contribution. And then when you do a strategy like that, it best is to utilize that tax refund to help pay back that loan.
In a year like this, with interest rates as high as they are, would that be something that you think people should be considering or maybe thinking twice about?
Yeah, that really depends on their scenario and their outlook of the market. It is best for each person to talk to their financial advisor and get their views on that strategy in particular. Personally, I wouldn't be totally offended to a higher interest rate as long as I expect to be earning that amount in income within my RRSP. That would sort of be the levels to look at in that scenario.
So which method do you think ends up being the most successful, John, in terms of maximizing or maxing out that RRSP each year?
I think normally the lump sum would, where you have a little bit of extra money, or like I said earlier, if you have a year-end bonus and you put that amount in, that's probably the most used in most cases.
And when you're thinking about, the age of someone who's thinking about saving with their RRSP, who does this work best for? And I'm kind of wondering, even for when you get, older, do you keep contributing to your RRSP, or should you be considering other things at that time?
Yeah, as you age, definitely that will depend on your marginal tax rate and the level of income. Normally, I would say as you're succeeding in your career and you're increasing your income year over year, it makes sense to keep contributing to your RRSP. There is a bit of a caution, though. I will say there is such a thing as too much RRSPs. And what I'm thinking about there is on death, or when that money is accessed, that money is fully taxable. So if you have a large pool of money, it can end up into a larger tax consequence at the end of time.
So thinking about maybe diversifying those savings a bit just to avoid that?
Yeah, either diversifying or part of your retirement plan as you get down later on in life would be to accessing that money as you go and sort of maximizing your tax bracket or utilizing your marginal tax rate in consideration of that retirement plan.
When is using a spousal RRSP a good strategy?
That's a great strategy when you have a big diversification or a big disparity between incomes of spouses, where you may have a spouse, one in a high tax rate and one in a lower tax rate. The higher tax rate individual can contribute to a spousal RSP. And the view of that strategy would be during retirement, the lower income spouse can access that money and have that money taxed in their hands at that time.
Anything to watch out for, though, in terms of using that and how it gets taxed?
Yeah, definitely. With a spousal plan, there is what is called the attribution rules. And attribution occurs where there has been a contribution into any spousal plan in the prior 3 years. So if you were utilizing the RRSP spousal strategy, if you put money in and that spouse withdraws that money within 3 calendar years, then the money gets attributed back to the contributor and it's taxed in their hands at that point in time.